Hey, what's going on? Oh, you want it like that? All right.
Yes. Hi, Mr. Brown. How are you?
How about yourself?
I'm doing great. I'm so glad to talk to you today.
Good to be talked to. Where are you?
I'm in Chicago. Can you hear the wind? Because I can hear it.
Chi-town. Yeah. Is it cold yet? Snowing yet?
No, it's 55 today. It's not that bad, but yeah.
Oh, that's if you're in Chicago, that's short sleeve weather,
Yeah, you see, I got my short sleeve on. I'm not cold at all.
huh? You inside. That's why.
Yeah, no. I got all my windows open. I can hear everything. But,
uh,
Mr. Brown, I want to dig right in. I have to tell you, I caught you on assisted living last night.
and
So I love it, but I don't want to spoil it for anybody because I don't know where they are.
oh, okay, all right.
But there is a bit that is just too funny. Like, how did you get involved with that show? How did you get wrapped into that character? Can you tell us
Well,
about it?
well, I auditioned. First of all, I've known Mr. Tyler Perry for a long time from doing the Tom Joyner show because he would call in from time to time. I mean, and so it was when he would call in, it was Tyler. You know, when we would do the Sky shows, it was Tyler. But when you go to work for him, it's Mr. Perry. So anyway, I'd already left the Tom Joyner show, and we were doing the last. Tom was doing the last show,
Mm.
the very last show, and they asked me to come back and do the reunion show. So I come back, and Mr. Perry is one of the guests. So we know we're talking about Madeira and stuff that happened while he'd been knowing Tom and yada yada yada. So in my mind, I'd already auditioned for the show, and I'm thinking, should I ask him while we're on the air about it, or should I wait until we're done with the interview? I
Mm.
think it's always best if you're asking for something. I mean, people have different trains of thought. Some people will do it live on the air and try to put the person on the spot. But I thought for me, it was best that I wait till the interview was over.
Yeah.
So when the interview was over, I said, hey, I already auditioned for your show. Could you put in a word for me? And he was like, you didn't audition. Yeah, I did audition. He said, where? And I told him where, with who, yada, yada. Next day, 2 days passed. I got a call to do the show. And the rest is, as they say, history.
So what I want to know, because I've seen this about Tyler Perry Studios, were you like quarantined on set?
No, when we did the show, we did it before the COVID lockdown. We did
Oh,
the
okay.
show we did that show in the first of the year. So there wasn't a lockdown until March. By that time, we'd already finished 25 shows.
Wow.
So yeah, we got 25 shows in the can, and we're waiting to see if we're gonna go back for a second season. So yeah, there was no lockdown. He, put people up in the hotels, and you're free to go and come as you please, with work and do the work. And so, and
Mhm.
that was the setup. But I understand that if we go back, it'll be a lockdown in the quote unquote the bubble. So we haven't done that
Yeah.
yet.
Y'all have your own, he has his own Tyler
Oh,
Perry
he got his
NBA
own
style
everything.
bubble.
I think Mr. Perry is building another Atlanta. I mean,
It's like Inception. It's like an Atlanta within Atlanta. Like it's a
yeah,
whole
yeah, he's
thing.
building Atlanta within Atlanta. So yeah.
Hmm. So I saw something really unique and interesting about you that I did not know. Because if I'm being honest, the first thing I know about you is watch out there now.
Right, right.
So in my mind, I'm like, yeah, I know that. But as I'm uncovering and researching things about you, I found out that you won a Peabody Award.
Oh yeah, a lot of reporters, I won a Peabody Award and I have two NAACP Images Awards. And the Peabody Award was because I was working part-time on a radio show, Stevie Wonder's radio show, during the riots. And so during the riots, in order to keep calm, all of the jocks, I wasn't a jock. I was just an on-air personality, reported
Hmm.
to the radio station to keep the radio station going for
Hmm.
24/7, allowing people to call in and, express their grievances about, the Rodney King situation. And
Hmm.
from that, we were given Peabody Awards. And so, yeah, I have a Peabody Award.
That's on my bucket list. I wish this was like an in-person interview so I could like touch you like Apollo so I can get some of that juju because I
Yeah, I
want
have.
one. Yes.
Mhm.
And it's crazy because I'm sure at the time while you were on air, there was so much going on in the world that it was never
It
something that
was it
you
was
thought
so
about.
weird. It was weird to actually. I don't know if you've ever seen a riot or if you've ever been in the midst of a riot, but from where the radio station was, you could see them riot across the street. They didn't attack the radio station, and I guess most of the people who were looting or whatever knew that Stevie Wonder owned the station, so they didn't touch the station.
Oh, wow.
But you could see the people tear up people's businesses, and you could see them, set things on fire. And that was so weird because you could also see, the calmness where they got everything out of the system. And then the next 2 days, people started to come out to clean up and build up and help people put their businesses back together.
Wow.
And to be able to see that, I mean, we were doing it, being on the air, not thinking we would get an award. It was just something to do to allow people to call into the radio station. And I guess a lot of people who were calling in say, well, maybe if I can, express my grievance on the radio, then I'm not going to go downtown or go someplace and tear stuff up. So
exactly.
That's what happened. That's how I got it.
Wow. So Melba Moore says hello.
Hey, Melba, how you doing?
Hey, Miss Moore, you're amazing.
I just did an interview with her, right?
Yeah, she's awesome. Okay, so you have been on 2 nationally syndicated radio shows.
Yes.
I'm not going to ask you what your favorite is, but
they're both my favorite.
Yeah, they're both your favorite. They're both my favorite. Okay, so how did you get in radio? Like, I know that you worked.
I got in radio because of the Stevie Wonder station. When I was a writer for Arsenio Hall, I worked at a comedy club called oh my God, the fun. It was called the Fun House.
Okay.
And the guy who put the club together was the morning jock. So I said, before I go to Arsenio, which I didn't have to be to Arsenio till 10 o'clock in the morning. His show came on at 6. I said, I'll come in and hang out with you from 6 to like 9 o'clock, and then I can go and do, the Arsenio Hall show. And I said this, and I always tell people this, in terms of if you want to get into something, I said, I'll come for free. You don't have to pay me. I just want to come.
I heard you say that, and I gave you the people's eyebrow when I heard you say it in the interview. Yeah. I was like, really?
A lot of people don't understand, but the word free gets you in the door.
It does.
You can get in the door with free. You want to be a barber? Go to a barber shop and say, man, let me come in here and sweep up and run errands and go get sandwiches, whatever you want, wash towels, whatever you need. And with that, you teach me how to be a barber. You want to be a bricklayer? Hey, man, I'll tug up bags of cement and you teach me the trade. You want to be a writer? Hey, if you need somebody to make copies or whatever it is you want, if you can connect yourself with the person who's doing what it is you want to do, to get up under them, and you can learn for free, you become what it is you want to do, and that gets you in the free. And then after that, if you become good enough, somebody will pay you to do it.
Amen. That's the word.
Yeah.
I think about that a lot because, like you said, there's a thing. It's called an apprenticeship. Like that,
yes.
It's an internship. That's what you do if you want to do something. If it's something that you've never had access to, and I think, like you said, like it's very easy, I suppose, if you can afford it, to go to school and get a broadcasting degree, and
right.
then start to internship.
There's a sister girl internship that they have that I've heard people talk about. For girls, teaching girls how to code, teaching girls how to write, teaching girls how to, work on the internet and pretty much whatever it is you want to go into. But an internship, and a lot of times interns get paid. A lot of times because you're working there and you're close to XYZ, and they might, whisper in your ear, when I'm leaving here, I'm starting my own thing and I'm going to take you with me. You're in. Free gets you in the door. But a lot of people don't understand that, and they don't get it. They want to know. If you ever read the book, I think it's called My Two Dads. My Two Dads. It teaches. There's a story about how they worked in the store for the dad, and they were so insistent about getting paid. What they didn't know was while they were working for free, they were learning the business. And that's just it goes back to what I'm telling people. Free gets you in the door. It really does.
I love that. And I heard you talk about your Arsenio Hall story and how you knew somebody that knew somebody in that we got a job.
I got in the Arsenio Hall show because of my buddy Paul Clay.
Yes.
Paul Clay was a writer, was a comedian out of Atlanta. Next thing I know, he's writing for Arsenio out here in L.A. So I come out to L.A. to get on television, and It's very laid back the way they were writing. You know, they would go in. Um, just call me. I need to put it
On D&D.
something.
It's
And they go in and write. He asked me to come over and hang out. He said,
mm-hmm.
"If you feel like coming over and hanging out while we write, then after we write, we can go to lunch." Because they wrote the
Uh-huh.
monologues in the morning. So I'm in the room, and you know, you put 3 comedians in the room, and you know, a subject comes up about something funny, and I'll say, "Yeah, this," and they say, "Can we use that?" And I'm like, "Yeah, go ahead." On something.
Oh, on Do Not Disturb, but hopefully they won't call you back. Hold on, guys. Okay, there you
And so
go.
he said, "You can do this." He said, "You can do this." I said, "Well, I can't because I don't type and my spelling's really, really bad." He said, "Well, I'll type up the jokes for you." So I was on the road at the time doing stand up. So I started writing jokes and sending them in to Paul or calling Paul and having him type it up and give him to Arsenio.
Mm-hmm.
So about a week or 2 weeks go by, and he said, "Arsenio's doing some of your jokes tonight." And so I'm on the road. I'm waiting. The show comes on at 10:30 or 11:30, and I'm sitting there and I hear the joke that I wrote that Arsenio did. I mean, I almost
How was
lost my
that?
mind. I couldn't believe it. I'm like, that I wrote that. I mean, I'm in the room by myself, but I wrote that. And so they call me in for a meeting to meet Arsenio, and I fly back to LA because I was living in LA at the time. I
Mm-hmm.
fly back, I go in Paramount Lot, I go in Arsenio's office. He said, "Where are you from?" I said, "I'm from Columbia, South Carolina."
Mm.
He said, "I'll see you Monday." That's all, and that was it.
No background check required.
No, he didn't check me, but he had a producer that went like, "Well, I don't know where he's from, and we've never heard. See you Monday, man. Get out of here."
Wow.
It was
That is
just,
a
it was a gift from
blessing.
God. It was a blessing. It was,
Yes.
yeah.
And you've been so blessed. Like we said, Tom Joyner, Steve Harvey, Def Comedy Jam, Arsenio. And now I hear you make hot sauce.
I got a hot sauce coming, and I'm an artist. That's my art in the back, back there. Can you see that?
Wow. And you know what? What's that brim hat? Is that what it called? A brim?
Uh huh.
Okay, so what's funny is I've seen your comedy shows and you always had like the brightest, most elaborate suit. And I also found out that you went to school to be a tailor. Is that right?
Yeah. I went to Denmark Tech in Denmark, South Carolina to become a tailor. And
Mm-hmm.
actually, I was a tailor before I started doing comedy. I worked in Atlanta. I worked at a place called Henry's Tailor Shop. I worked at different shops across Atlanta. And by the time I'd come to LA, I'd quit tailoring and I was doing stand up full time. But tailoring, you know, it 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 it, it really it really it changed my life because the minute I got out of trade school, I had a job. Many
Yes.
people who went to college for 4 and 6 years, they weren't working,
Mm-hmm.
and they sure wasn't making as much money as a tailor was making, and I could make anything, you know.
And
Uh,
that's like a lost art because, people do not,
yeah, people don't want to do it anymore. They don't want to do it anymore. But
people
yeah,
are barely using irons at this point. Least of
people don't
all,
even want to iron.
yes, like least of all, hemming the clothes or getting things to fit them appropriately. They just buying
You're
off the
right.
rack and just pulling it out. That's so awesome. So I guess it's safe to say when you decided to make the migration to LA, you weren't broke when you left.
I had a job, and what was so weird, by the time I came to LA, I wasn't able to work the circuit in terms of working the clubs
Mm-hmm.
because I had work on the road. And what I noticed was a lot of these comics, they had a big attitude toward comics who came out here, but I was a working comedian.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, the way they acted toward me didn't bother me because in a few weeks or a couple of weeks or a couple of days, I'm leaving to go to Texas and make $1,500. You know, in 1989 and 1990, 1,500 a week here. And I was doing really well,
Mm-hmm.
really, really well. I wasn't a starving artist. I had made a name for myself in the comedy circuit, and the problem was I was living in LA, but I was working in places as Texas, DC, Chicago. So I was working all of those places,
Mm-hmm.
and it was just almost like it didn't even make sense to be here, you know. But then
But
when I
you
got the
chose
job with Arsenio, I started writing for Arsenio. I wrote for Ice-T. I wrote for Sinbad. I wrote for Robert Townsend. I wrote on Steve Harvey's show. And then, you know, I got the Tom Joyner show. Now, the weird part about it, once I got the Tom Joyner show, Steve and I had already been friends.
Mm-hmm.
We've been knowing each other for 30-something years. We met on the road. So, and the weird part about it, when I was doing the Tom Joyner show, we went off the air at 7 in the morning, LA time.
Mm-hmm.
Steve had an LA show where he came on at 6 to 10. So I would leave my show when I would go off at 7, and by 7:30, 8 o'clock, I'm on there with Steve because we weren't on in LA.
Mm.
So I was hustling.
Ladies and gentlemen, come in. Y'all listen to this work ethic that this man is trying to tell y'all right now.
Yeah. If you find anybody successful, really, really successful, when you sit down and talk to them, you'll hear a work ethic that's unbelievable.
Mm-hmm.
You'll think that they just got there overnight. But even comedians, you'll hear that they went from this club to that club. Or you hear beauticians, well, I would do hair here, and then I'd go maybe clean houses here, or I'd clean houses and I'd write in the morning. Whatever it is, there's a grind that comes behind it. You know, most people, you don't become truly successful unless you put the grind in. And you end up like the president of the United States. You accomplish everything, but you don't know what the shit you're doing. And that's a problem we have. He didn't put the grind in on nothing. He never put a grind in on nothing.
I talk to people about that, and it's like, you all don't understand that this man could have actually done a great job if he wanted to.
You know, and when it's so weird. Now, I hope people don't take this the wrong way. A lot of people compare Trump to Hitler. Hitler was way smarter than Trump. Way. They're just as evil. Don't get me wrong. They're just as evil. They both had the demise of a lot of people. But Hitler was a visionary. Trump is not a visionary. Trump has no idea what the hell he's doing. Trump did not want to be president. He had the same look when OJ found that he wasn't guilty. He was like, you bullshitting. And that's the same thing that happened to Trump when they said, you won. He was like, look at the inauguration. He didn't even know what to say. He was calling people out of the stands to come up and say stuff because he did not want to be president. He wanted to run for president because it would make him popular, and it made him the president of the United States. We all know people. We all been around people who get jobs. It could be the boss's daughter. It could be somebody who gets on a job, and you know deep down in your soul, they don't know what the hell they're doing. Exactly. And that's what Trump is. He has no idea. He don't even have a clue.
Yeah, Roger Stone picked him, I think he said like 87.
Right. Mm-hmm.
He said, you're going to be the president. Donald Trump was like, no. That was in the 80s. Like, this man, these people, these machines had a plan for this guy a long time ago.
Yeah, and the way it's going now, I think he might quit.
You know, now I don't think he wants to give the ball back. I don't think there's anything he wants to give up right now, right? But so I thank you because I've learned so much. You taught me, and I think everybody on the live that has been watching has learned so much. What I want to know before we go, two things. One, you have a work ethic that's outstanding. You can do a whole bunch of stuff at one time. And I want to know exactly what keeps you going with that. What is your mantra?
I guess the ability to do the things that you still like to do. I can still write comedy. I can still do the radio show. That's my art. Can you see that?
I like it.
Yeah.
I like all the red too. That's my color.
I still have the ability to do those things. And a lot of people make excuses. Well, you know, we've always saying, well, when I get the time, I'm going to do this. I'm going to write that book. I'm going to write that album. I'm going to do this. Well, COVID has given you that time.
Plenty of time. You
have no excuse now. So I think for me, I'm at the age and I have the peace of mind and the wherewithal to do some of the things I like doing. Mm-hmm. And that keeps you going. You wake up in the morning, I get to paint today, or I write a joke today, or I write so. For
Yeah,
me,
and I
that's
like
favorite.
that you do that. You separate your brain based on
Yes.
your inspiration for that
Yeah.
day. It's
And I
not
have a
just
hot
like
sauce company. It's called Hotter Than a Mofo.
how about
Well,
that
Hotter Than a
mofo?
Mofo. And these are my peanuts. These are my nuts right here.
Mofo peanuts.
Yeah, they're very hot. Very,
Mm.
very hot. But they sell very well. So go to hotterthanamofo.com to order some of my hot sauce. And we'll ship it out to you right away. You enjoy it. It's peach and pepper, cayenne, habanero, and garlic.
And the
Made
same
right here in
one
the US of A.
that wait, are those different ones or is that
Different
all
flavors,
in one?
different flavors. Yeah, peach
Whew,
and
I was
pepper,
gonna say Mr.
cayenne,
Brown.
habanero, garlic, and a real, real hot one called Hotter Than a Mofo. If you like it really, really hot, hotter than a mofo.
Oh my goodness, you guys grab you some hotter than a mofo peanuts. I think I saw he has popcorn too.
Yeah, and popcorn. Thank you for reminding me. Yeah, popcorn.
Yes, that's amazing. So we have the website for Hotter Than a Mofo. We can watch you. What night does assisted living come?
You can hear me Mondays and Wednesdays on the Steve Harvey, Mondays and Fridays on the Steve Harvey Show. You can check out my radio show where I count down the top 10 songs in the country on iHeart.
Mm.
And you can catch me on Assisted Living Wednesday night at 8:30. They're back to one show a night now. In the beginning, they showed two shows,
Mm-hmm.
and now it's one show a night. So it was a lot of fun with all the cast members. I hope we get picked up for second season because we had a ball. It is what you see it is, yeah.
Yeah, the Mans are a funny bunch. Like
Oh, they
they're
really are. David
kind of
Mann is
crazy.
hilarious.
I
Yeah.
watch them on YouTube like a crazy person. Like even their YouTube show is cute to me. So thank you again so
Thank
much,
you so
Mr.
much.
Brown. You have a wonderful day.
You too. Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you.
Bye
And
bye.
I'm going to be coming to Riddles soon whenever I can work it out. I'm just kind of nervous. I know my buddy Damon is having shows up there, but
Why are you
I
nervous?
want to come, and I'm like, I don't know.
Oh, because of COVID, you're nervous?
Yes, yes,
Yeah.
yes.
That's a smart concern.
Yeah, yeah.
That's
But,
not something we want to trifle with. You're a
you
national
know,
treasure. We got to keep you here so we can get more stuff out of you.
all right. All right. Thank you.
You're welcome. Have a great one.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye bye. All right, you guys, that was awesome. Thank you so much for joining today's episode of Sheen Talk Live.